This is the Pop Culture Junkie here again with another Let's Play video, and we are doing a SummerSlam 1988 as our location as we do a WWE Intercontinental Championship title match, Mr. Perfect versus the Big Boss Man. Alright, we are live in New York, New York for SummerSlam 1988. Now, SummerSlam 1988, who is even aware of that show? I am, because that was the first SummerSlam, the very, very first SummerSlam ever, which featured, the main event was a mega tag team match of Andre the Giant and the $1 Million Man, the Mega Bucks, versus the Mega Powers of Macho Man Randy Savage and the Immortal Hulk Hogan. That's right. And they had in their corners, of course, Mega Bucks had Virgil, and in the Mega Powers corner, they had Miss Elizabeth, and the special guest referee, Pop Quiz, was a future governor, obviously, Governor Jesse Ventura. So anyways, that was 1988, and the match that stood out for me, obviously, was the main event one, because it had some of the greatest of all time in the match. Had Andre, $1 Million Man. I was a huge fan of both those gentlemen. Got to see $1 Million Man compete in person when I was only like 11 years old. That was really awesome. It was a match with him versus, I believe, Hot Rod Roddy Piper, actually. That was really cool. And then, of course, the other match that really stood out for me from 1988 was Ultimate Warrior for the Intercontinental title against Honky Tonk Man. Honky Tonk Man had been Intercontinental Champion for quite some time. I mean, he was not the greatest wrestler. He was not known for that. He was known for his charisma and his sneaky ways that he would get out of having to, really win a match. He would find ways to get himself counted out, disqualified. And Warrior, he was coming in as basically as just a force to be reckoned with. And want to point out, that's also one of my favorite all-time title belts right there, is the classic WWF Intercontinental title. Love that belt. Love to have a replica belt of that one day. But yeah, Warrior came in and just destroyed Honky Tonk Man in just a matter of minutes. Let's see, okay, the match has started. Now, this is for the vacant Intercontinental title, because for that particular belt, I do not have anyone assigned, so I figured we'll do a title match here. And I am Mr. Perfect, Curt Hennig, of course, his real name. Curt Hennig, one of the great ones, obviously. This guy was amazing. He put on some wonderful matches, especially with the likes of Shawn Michaels, Bret the Hitman Hart, of course, Ric Flair as well. They had a great match on Raw. I remember it was the loser, or it was like a retirement type match, because it was Mr. Perfect against Ric Flair, and that was technically Ric Flair's last televised match on Raw, because he went back to WCW. And he had another match with Ric Flair later, of course, in WCW when they were both in there. And then they did the angle where basically Mr. Perfect was about to become one of the Four Horsemen, and he turned on the Horseman by slamming the cage door on Ric Flair and such. But Mr. Perfect, I always wish I could have met him and seen him perform. Unfortunately, he passed away many years ago. I have had the pleasure, I know I've shared this story before on some of my unboxing videos, but I've had the fortunate pleasure of getting to meet Bret the Hitman Hart at a comic convention just a few years ago. And when I met him at his table, they had some photos, some like 8x10 photos available for purchase, and I went ahead and bought one. I had some items I wanted to get his autograph on anyways for my own personal collection, but I saw a photo which was from the 1991 SummerSlam, and it was a picture of Bret Hart applying the sharpshooter to Mr. Perfect, because of course Bret Hart won that match. He won the Intercontinental title from Mr. Perfect, and we kind of talked a little bit. He was saying how, if he could get back in the ring one more time, of anybody of his previous opponents, current or non-active or whatever, it would be Mr. Perfect. He said the two of them had amazing chemistry, and he even shared a little bit more talking about how, because I told him when I was getting to meet him, I told him, you know, this was the match I would watch over and over. Before there was a network or the internet, you know, I would watch SummerSlam 91, and I would fast forward to this match over and over just to watch Perfect and Brett, because it was just such a great match. If you haven't seen this match, I highly recommend you find it. Find the whether it's on a video or cassette or whatever, find some way to watch it. Or if you have the network, you can watch it that way. But I highly recommend it because it's a great match. They tell a great story. At the time, Mr. Perfect was dealing with back injuries, and I think he had some other personal issues going on. And this was Bret Hart's opportunity to become a singles superstar. He had been with the Hart Foundation with Jim the Animal Neidhart since around, what, 1987, I think. So for several years it was Bret Hart and Neidhart as the Hart Foundation, and they've been two-time tag team champions. And then they lost the titles earlier that year at WrestleMania 7. Sounds weird to say, right? WrestleMania 7. We just had WrestleMania 32. Wow. Anyways, they were getting ready to push Bret Hart, and this was the match that made him, because he won the Intercontinental title belt, and he held it on the way until just before the Royal Rumble of '92, which was just you know maybe about 7 months later, 6 months later. But then they did the angle with Bret Hart and the Mountie, and then Mountie won the title from him at a house show. Roddy Piper won it at the Rumble, and then Piper lost the title back to Bret Hart at WrestleMania 8. But yeah, give you a little timeline there. But yeah, this would have been a great match to see. Now these two did have a match for the Intercontinental title actually at WrestleMania 7. At the time, Big Boss Man had been feuding with the Heenan family, and that was a great angle that they had going. So at like the Royal Rumble '91, Big Boss Man had a match with the Barbarian, another one of Heenan's people, and Boss Man was victorious there, and that got him closer to getting the top guy of the Heenan family at the time, which of course was Perfect, since he was the one holding a title. You know, this is back in the day when you had 3 title belts. Yeah, the world title, which was at that time held by Warrior, who lost it to Slaughter, and then Slaughter lost it to Hogan at WrestleMania 7. But you had the tag team title belts, which at the time the champions were the Hart Foundation, and then at WrestleMania 7, the Hart Foundation lost to the Nasty Boys. And then you had the Intercontinental title belt, and you know, for the longest time, everyone's always referred to the Intercontinental title as the workhorse title. That's the belt that you know you went there to the matches or to a live show to see, you know, Hogan or Warrior, later on Savage, as far as when they were world champions. But you knew that the match of the night was going to be probably either the tag team title match or the Intercontinental title match. And back in the day, you would have somebody like Macho Man Randy Savage as the Intercontinental champion. He would be the main event. Hogan would do like 4th match on the card, but the main event would be Savage. I can remember Shawn Michaels, of course, one of the all-time great Intercontinental champions, and he could steal the show, so why not have him as the main event, right? Okay, we are not focused here because I am getting beaten down, and I was doing pretty well for a little bit there. Okay, we've got to get some focus here. Okay, I've got some finishers. I have not used them yet, and I'm getting choked out by Boss Man here. Uh-oh, here we go. Yeah, I still miss the days when you could just mash the controller to kick out. Here you got a lot more timing and such, and I know it gives it a little bit of a challenge, and I guess maybe you just don't beat up your controller as much, but I mean, I can remember playing like No Mercy or WrestleMania 2000 on the N64 and just mashing your controller to like crazy to get your character to kick out of a pinfall or submission or anything like that. So yeah, let's see if we can get. Okay, we're going for the perfect plex. We're going for the perfect place. Here we go. Pinfall. Beautiful. 1, 2. Oh. Okay, well. Let's see. I don't remember if I even did a... yeah, I don't remember if this was a... a no DQ match of any kind, so I don't want to take my chance. I've almost got Boss Man beat. I think we might have a shot here. Let's do it one more time. Let's pinfall. Hit him. Oh, nice. There we go. We got 1, 2, 3, and new champion is crowned. Excellent. All right, cool. And let's go over the highlights there. We got some highlights. Near fall. More of me getting choked out by Boss Man there before we apply the finisher. One, 2, and oh, that's where that was where he kicked out. Now we got the perfect plex right there, center of the ring. I always thought the perfect plex looked amazing, and yeah, it was always one of my favorite finishers. So there we have it, and brand new Intercontinental Champion, one of the all-time greatest Intercontinental Champions ever, Mr. Perfect. Whether it was battles with the Texas Tornado, Bret Hart, the matches were great, and he just has always been one of my favorites of all time. All right, well, if you enjoyed this, please leave me some comments below in the description. Make sure you give me a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you did or did not enjoy this video. But if you would like to make a request to see future videos, leave me some comments below. Give me some recommendations on match types or maybe some fantasy matches you want to hear me talk about. Like I said, like you saw here, so I was just rambling about the little bit of knowledge that I may have on different wrestlers or events from the past. So if you enjoyed this, make sure you leave me some comments. Hit that subscribe button so you can check out my future videos as well. Okay, everyone, thank you so much for watching. Take care. Till next time, Pop Culture Junkie, signing out.